You are listening to Freshly Squeezed.
When you think back to when you were at school and you've got ADHD, all of a sudden the thing that you were looked at negatively and you had those negative connotations at school, all of a sudden if you can put it into something like being in a band or performing, it actually becomes a positive.
How do? You've done a good thing today. You've clicked play on the latest episode of Freshly Squeezed, and your reward will be hearing some stunning new music from some awesome acts. Who knows? One of them could be your next favourite band. I'm Jim, and each week I handpick the best new music that comes my way. Some of it ends up on the podcast, some of it ends up on the weekly Freshly Squeezed Spotify playlist. That updates every Friday with 10 banging new tunes. You can find the link to that in the podcast description, where you'll also find a way to hear more from this week's featured artists. But don't do any of that until you've heard what's in store right now. In a moment, we're going to hear from the Sherlocks, a band that I have no doubt you have come across at some point before. Their last album was a top 5 hit in the album charts. Well, they are back with new music, and that new music sounds like this. That's called In Your Hands, and what it is part of we don't know yet. It could be an album, it could be a standalone, but we'll get into that with the band very, very soon. After that, you need to stick around to hear more from the band Brontë, who are gearing up for the release of their debut album with their anti-love song, Wouldn't Be Me. When I heard the name Brontë, I had expectations, and now I've heard it. It's not what I expected, but I absolutely love it. Finally, we're going to catch up with a band making a return to Freshly Squeezed and a return to releasing music as well after a brief hiatus. All Right are back with a brand new tune called Bullet Brain. Banging. But as promised, first up, it's the Sherlocks, and Kieran has squeezed us into his busy band schedule at the moment. Cheers for making the time, mate.
Yeah, cheers for having me.
So we're getting you fresh out the studio, I think, today. You've been holed up, working hard all day. How's it been going?
Yeah, good, mate, good. We're back recording music. I don't know how it's going to end up or where it's going to end up, if it's going to present itself as an album or what, but we're sort of in a good place, really. Like, just had a new record out last year. So this year, we're just sort of, just doing his own thing and having a laugh, getting in the studio, recording some tunes and cracking on.
Is that literally how it works? It's as casual as that? You kind of go, well, we might get an album out next year, we might not, but let's get into the studio and see what happens.
Pretty much, mate, yeah. I think that's kind of the beauty of being independent as well. Like, you don't have to go around a big office full of people. It's literally 4 people in band. It's really simple. It's like, you got any tunes key? Yeah, I've got this. It's not fully finished. I mean, that seems to have been the thing for the last couple of albums, not finishing songs, but they turned out well doing that, to be fair. It's sort of like, it usually starts with Brandon, like, saying, have you got any ideas or demos or out? And I'll send stuff in, and obviously they've never heard it. And I get the reaction off them where it's like, why didn't you send us this earlier? But I don't know. I don't think to do it, if you know what I mean.
That process must have changed a bit from the early days, because you can't, when you're a band starting out, you can't just book a studio out and spend your time putting songs together in there. It must have been a situation where you had them fully formed before you stepped in, right? So that must be something that's happened in your latter years of being a band.
Yeah, well, basically, in a nutshell, it sounds like I've just got lazier and just stopped writing verse 2. I don't know. Yeah, like I say, in the early days, obviously your first album, we started in 2010 as a cover band. So we probably started writing songs 2013, maybe. Yeah, so we had a good 4 years, say, just to write some tunes and shape that debut album. But everything after that, I know it's a cliche, but you only make your debut once, and you sort of get all the time in the world to do it, really. But everything after that, particularly second album, maybe not for some bands, but there seems to be a bit of pressure. Are you going to follow it up? And by the time we dropped his third album, that were a bit of a weird phase anyway, because it was COVID time. So, but yeah, these days, mate, We have started booking studio time spread out, if you know what I mean, like doing 4 days, 4 days, 2 tunes. We tend to work on 2 days per song. And yeah, we've just been getting in when we can and when we want. And yeah.
We have got new music. It's called In Your Hands. It's the first new tune back after the previously mentioned fourth album, Everything Must Make Sense, which ended up in the top 4 in the end, which is amazing. Success is great, I'm sure, but also when you have that success, does it make you want to do more and more with the next album or the next release? So in this sense, does that success bring a kind of pressure in of itself that, well, if this does end up being an album, what you're doing now, it's got to perform better than album number 4 did?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. I mean, it's equivalent to like a boxer in a boxing career. You are only as good as your last fight. So yeah, we're constantly pushing ourselves for ourselves as well. I think that's important. Like, again, another cliche, but I'll drop it. Somebody once said, some genius, to be a great conductor, you've got to turn your back to the audience. And I think it's important that everything starts with you, with your circle. So in my case, me, Alex, Trent, and Brandon all need to be excited about it. Otherwise, it's pointless. Like, we might as well just cancel it, the studio days. So we go in there. Often it's not a fully fleshed out song or idea. Lyrics still need to be wrote and the middle eight might change and so on, but we still absolutely buzz off it. Like, I love it. I still see it as the best job in the world. Like, when we're in studio and we're recording tunes, I'm there the whole time. Like, even though Brandon's tracking drums, I could think, oh, I'm going to go for a coffee or whatever. I can't do it. Like, I'm a bit of a control freak in that sense. I have to be just involved constantly.
You say you like messing around the studio. The lyrics to In Your Hands, they were kind of a bit off the cuff, weren't they? They were done on the flow, basically.
Yeah, a lot of them, yeah. I mean, that's happening with a lot of songs. But yeah, in Your Hands, the only lyrics I really had wrote were the opening lines or verse 1. I sort of had the same thing. This is always the theme, or this is what tends to happen with these songs. But the chorus were wrote pretty much, or the first half for it. The second half, the why did it take me so long, wrote that in studio. But yeah, wrote verse 2 in studio, middle 8. I don't know. It just seems more exciting to do that, I think. Like, the first album is the polar opposite of what I've just said, really. It's we sort of had the songs on that first album, and I think we're not scared, but a bit like we didn't really want to make a record that were different to all them songs we'd just released and the thing that even got as fan base started. So the first album was just like, let's just go in and record these songs pretty much exactly how people have been hearing them and just get better recordings. Whereas now we're sort of at a place where it's like, let's go in and try some stuff. What is it, 5 albums in? Like, yeah, just trying to push yourselves really and just do something that feels interesting to us.
How far do you think you'll push it? Because I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think you're going to come out with a Moonbase Lunar Safari or whatever that Arctic Monkeys album was called, the kind of lounge one. That doesn't feel like the direction you're going into. But when you listen to In Your Hands, it sounds like the Sherlocks. So how far do you want to push that sound?
Till basically we end up at Space Jazz.
Right, okay. So you are going that way.
No, I don't know, man. The goal has always been the same, to write good anthemic melodic songs. I'm not too fussed about lyrics. If you end up with a song with good lyrics, then that's great. But the melody is the one for me. People always forget lyrics. People sing their own lyrics half the time, but they're never singing a different melody. They're always singing the right melody. And to me, that just means more. So where we'll end up, who knows? I don't think we'll stray too far, but we never consciously say we want to sound like this or whatever. And I think I've always had a hard time identifying what our sound is. Like you just said, it still sounds like the Sherlocks. I don't really know what our sound is. And I think for a while that probably slowed down a bit of songwriting because you just question yourself thinking, does it sound like us? Whereas now, I think I just know, whenever I'm singing on it and Brandon's drumming and so on, it will ultimately just sound like us.
Well, whatever direction it takes and whatever the next thing is, I look forward to hearing it because In Your Hands is a belting start. I just want to mention something that's happening in the summer as well, because I think this is really cool. You're doing your big headline show at Steelyard in Sheffield, and you've got a load of support bands supporting you on that as well. But also, bang in the middle of the World Cup, It's happening on the same night as England's final group game against Panama, so it's going to kind of morph into a fan zone as well. Really cool. I think that just sounds like a great way to spend a day. Is there any chance that there is going to be a Sherlocks World Cup song?
Do you know what? That's not a bad shout, actually. I wouldn't rule it out.
Okay.
I actually would not rule it out. That's a good shout. We've just released a football shirt as well, like an England Sherlocks themed shirt. Yeah, do you know what? We're always up for football. Like, I know it's quite cliche and laddie, like a bit of a lad band kind of thing, but why not? People love it, don't they? Like, when World Cup comes around, it feels like the whole country is just lifted. Like, I can remember maybe the last one. I was calling at a shop, like a Spar or something, and I was sat in car ready to go in shop, and I just saw this random geezer just come out with a carrier bag, and he looked like he had some pint cans, and England were playing that day, like maybe in half an hour, and it was baking hot, and I swear to God, he was on his own. He just walked outside Spar, put his arms in air, and just went, "We still believe," just on his own, and I'm like, what an absolute nutcase, but that's what it's about. The country's on an absolute high when England are playing, especially World Cup. So buzzing for it.
World Cup songs are a difficult thing to get right, but I think I'd back you boys to do it. I think you've got the ingredients. So watch this space on that one.
Yeah, I think we're the boys to do it, aren't we?
Kieran, good luck with whatever happens in the studio over the next few weeks. Looking forward to hearing what comes out of it. But cheers for your time on Freshly Squeezed. We'll play the new one in your hands.
Yeah, man. Nice one, Jim. Appreciate it.
Smile like I know you can, 'cause everything you want is in your hands. Oh, I love every little thing she does. She's working and it's all too much. She's afraid that she can't wake up. Oh, time to heed the call, because you're losing yourself with the fear of it all.
New from Sherlocks. You've got to hope that is the start of album number 5, but we're just going to have to wait and see. Just as we'll have to wait and see on that World Cup anthem as well. Get on it, lads. So, from Yorkshire to Scotland now to catch up with Brontes. Erin and Eva from the band jumping on for a chat. Welcome to Freshly Squeezed.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
I had an expectation before I heard your music based purely on the name of the band itself. I was expecting it was going to be something theatric, something maybe Kate Bush-esque, but what I got instead was this quite indie pop, 90s, shimmery kind of feel to your music. Am I the only person who's had those preconceptions listening to your music and you've just demolished them?
I don't think so. I think a lot of people have expected more of a kind of like maybe last dinner party vibe from us. But I think we just chose the name Brontes just because for whatever decade it was, I'm not sure.
The decade.
A lot of women couldn't use their own names, so we kind of like that idea. But we are also massive Kate Bush fans as well, so
Yeah. Yeah. It's a compliment to that you thought that we would sound like that.
So you don't sound like that, obviously, but you've got your new tune out now, Wouldn't Be Me, which came out around Valentine's Day, which doesn't feel like your average love song.
no, it's not, I suppose.
Is it a tune that's written from personal experience?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of multiple experiences that we've all had. And I remember Amelia talking about she used to work in a cafe and she used to see like couples sitting across from each other, and the girl would be all done up and stuff and, you know, ready for a fancy date, and the boys just made no effort that's sitting across from her, like sitting on his phone and joggies or something. And we just thought, you know, we need to have higher standards than this.
Yeah, this happens too often.
Yeah.
I think we're just seeing it all the time and we're just like, how are these Amazing Girls with some kind of losers on it.
Is that a common muse for the band? Kind of people watching, observing.
I think so, yeah. I think for the record that is coming out in April, like every song has been taken from personal experience, which I don't think we used to do so much. It's a lot more vulnerable this time. So yeah, it's definitely something that we've been exploring, and it's worked out in our favour, I would say.
Why have you got to that point now? What has something given you confidence that you've been able to go, right, we're going to look inward for this next phase of what we're doing, rather than maybe taking inspiration from elsewhere?
Yeah, I think whenever we were writing before, we had like other members in the band, and I think it got to about a year and a half ago that we changed things up, as in like the members of the band, and we just started to get a bit more vulnerable with each other whenever we were writing. We used to kind of choose a concept that was maybe like political stuff that mattered to us, but it was mostly like about just going out and having a good time. And then whenever we started writing together just as a group of girls, like it all kind of flowed better whenever we were writing. So I think we were just more comfortable doing that. And then we started thinking, oh, this is actually quite good.
You mentioned a minute ago the debut album, not far away, 21st of April, which is Charlotte Bronte's birthday at the same time. It's an interesting approach because I think most bands look at release schedules and they see what else is going to be released around that time and what could challenge them for sales and chart positions and all that kind of thing. But you've kind of gone here, we're going to do it on this date. I'm interested, was that always the intention to release the debut album on that date, or was it just it happened that you had this kind of window and it fitted within that opportunity?
No, it was definitely planned. We recorded the album back like last January, and for me, I was just keen to get it out as soon as possible. But then we kind of thought about it, and we thought if we're gonna schedule a release, then we better be smart about it. So that's how we came about with Charlotte Bronte's birthday, and just thought that would be quite iconic and also a nod to her if we released it on that day.
Yeah.
I know when you recorded the EP, your last EP, you were pretty free in the studio, experimented a bit, changed some songs up last moment when you were recording it. Was it the same experience when you were putting the album together, or were you pretty disciplined in terms of you knew what you were doing, you went and did it, or was that still a creative process whilst you were recording?
It was definitely a creative process while we were recording. A lot of different guitar parts and all the bass lines got written in the studio while we were recording. So we had the drums, the guitar, the vocals all sorted, but everything in between, all those extra bits, were just picked up in the studio. We were just messing about with parts to see what would fit, and then it all came together and we loved it.
Once we started writing new songs, we didn't really intend for it to be an album, but I think every song that we had wrote, it just flowed together. I think we went in with 6 songs for the first time we recorded, and we were like, why not just write 4 more songs and make this an album? And we were just like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to hearing the album when it comes. Before I let you go, I've heard that you prepare for gigs with a game of chess between you. Is that still the case? Is that what happens?
Sometimes we forget the chessboard, but
Okay.
yeah, it's just a wee thing that we've done a few times. But yeah, we'll need to bring that back, I think.
Yeah.
Is it like a special chessboard? Is it something kind of ornate and fancy, or is it like just a basic W.H. Smith standard edition?
It's your travel edition, so it's very small pieces, very small board. There's nothing fancy about it, but we like it.
Who's the chess champion within the group?
So far, it's me,
Okay.
Erin.
Congratulations. I think we need to see a
Thank you.
Bronte's merchandise branded chessboard available in the future, maybe for the next tour.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there.
Erin, Eva, lovely to speak to you. Loving the new single, Wouldn't Be Me. We're going to play it on Freshly Squeezed. Good luck with the album, and we'll speak again soon.
Thank you so much.
She's just too nice, I couldn't even make it on time. And I'm wondering how this came to be. Said he'd be here at 8, didn't tell her he'd be late. I'll tell you now, that wouldn't be me. Got her makeup done
love that. And like I say, it was not what I expected, based purely on just the name Brontë, but it is a big tune. I've had a sneaky listen to the album as well. It's a belter. Get on it when it comes, which will be on the 21st of April. As I said in the chat, Emily Bronte's birthday. If for some reason you've got that in your diary, you won't be able to forget when the album comes out either. Final band on today's pod are making their second appearance. It's All Right, and it's Joe from the band. How you doing, mate?
Yes, mate, all good.
So, you're back. All Right is back with a brand new tune, Bullet Brain, billed as a bit of a return for the band. So, remind me, how long has it been between the last release and this?
I think it's 6 months now. Everlasting was our last one, which was in July. It did really well for us, to be fair, that one. But after that, we did a few festivals, and then it was summer, back end of summer. And then by the time we'd written, we actually wrote a couple of tunes, and we were deciding which one to go with. And then, yeah, by the time you know it, it's 6 months, so we're back. But we've been working on this tune for a while. We've had it there ready, but the whole process of getting in and recording, and then by the time it releases, like you say, it's been 6-7 months.
When we spoke last time, it was just after you'd released Homegrown as a tune, and we talked about how important Blackpool is to your music and the Flied Coast and your hometown and where you grew up, and that was the inspiration for a lot of your tunes, the starting point where a lot of it came from. Is it the same this time out?
It's not so much as about being from the hometown, but the whole song Bullet Brain is about living with ADHD. So as a band, we've probably all got it, to be honest. Obviously, but I'm not in a position to self-diagnose, but we've all got experience in it, shall I say. So Smithy, our drummer, he really, I don't want to say struggles, but he's got ADHD, and that sort of defines his personality quite a lot. And you hear it a lot in the lyrics of the song in terms of why can't I be on time? That's him having his own internal battle with himself. So the song was written, me, Smithy, and Wilco, our guitarist, we sat down and we were like, right, let's write a song. He had a little riff, and then we didn't know what to write about. And then, funnily enough, at the same time as when we sat down to write it, my girlfriend's got ADHD as well. And she was having a battle as to whether or not she wanted to take medication. And there's a line in the song that says, I don't want to dull my shine, so do I take the meds that fix it. And Smithy's had a similar battle with himself. So it just sort of like all came together based on all of our experiences of having ADHD. So it's not about being from Blackpool, but again, it's quite deep rooted in Smithy's struggles growing up with ADHD, which obviously was in Blackpool/Fleetwood and the school system not understanding it and things like that.
ADHD, it seems like one of those conditions that seems pretty common in the music industry and the creative arts. There's a fair few artists that reference it in their music. Tom from Lottery Winners instantly springs to mind. He talks about it being his superpower. I was diagnosed with dyslexia when I was at school, and the more I've become aware of ADHD, and like you, I don't want to self-diagnose, but you hear people talking about it and you see how people kind of deal with it, and you go, hang on, that's a bit of me. That's a bit of me. Yeah. I recognise that in myself. It's a funny thing, but it does seem like those creative industries are something that attracts people who do have or orbit around the ADHD. What do you think it is about kind of music that makes those things compatible?
I think it's probably a mixture of things, isn't it? I think one being music's a really good outlet, isn't it? So if you're struggling with any sort of mental disorder, I'll speak for myself here. I'm not the best at opening up regarding my feelings and emotions. But if I sit down and write a song, all of a sudden it comes out of me. So it's a way of expressing, isn't it? So I think there's that aspect of it. I've listened to Tom and I've met him a couple of times as well from Lottery Winners, so I don't want to speak for him. But I think in terms of the music industry, it's an outlet that's acceptable. So when you're standing on stage and you're performing your music, everyone's praising you, they're enjoying it, they're on board with you. Whereas when you think back to when you were at school and you've got ADHD, all that's happening is you're getting undermined and being told that you're not good enough, or why aren't you sitting still? So all of a sudden, the thing that you were looked at negatively and you had those negative connotations at school, all of a sudden, if you can put it into something like being in a band or performing, it actually becomes a positive. So there's probably that side of it as well.
I do love the way that it tends to be not celebrated, but it tends to be embraced rather than presented as an issue, as a challenge. I think there's no surprise when you look at this song that it came from Liam. I know you guys write as a band rather than having individuals, because when you listen to the drums, they kind of really propel the song forward. And when I was listening to it, it's almost as if the drums represent, and I know you mentioned those racing thoughts, it kind of represents that. I mean, this might be a question for Liam rather than you, but was that part of the creative thinking here, that the song sonically wanted to represent what was going on in his head?
Yeah, I think it was, to be honest. We all sort of said that, like, because it started off, like I said, we wrote it together on like mainly him, but on a little acoustic guitar. But then from the first day when we all came together as a band, that was what we really started honing in on, was let's keep it high energy. And chaotic was the word, because I'm sure he won't mind me saying it. He is a chaotic man, you know. If you're going to have band practice, he's going to be 20 minutes late. It's good for him, you know. He's juggling 100 things at once. So what we were trying to say is the tune and the music has got to reflect that chaoticness of his life, if you will. So yeah, the drums sort of pounding through and being quite relentless throughout, that was like an underlying theme as to what we were trying to do.
Given this is kind of a personal story that started with another band member, but it's you that is responsible for bringing it to life, for kind of putting air into the words. How does it feel for you when, because this must have happened on other occasions as well, as like I say, you write as a band, so you're often performing other people's words. How do you kind of get to grips with that? How do you buy into those stories?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, that, to be fair, but I think again, it ultimately comes down to, even though it's not come from my head originally, usually what we're singing about I can sort of resonate with and get on board with. So obviously in this case, like I say, at the time my girlfriend was literally juggling with the idea of, shall I take medication or not? Smithy's a close friend of mine, so I've seen his struggles and how ADHD's impacted his life. So for me, it seemed to just come naturally. And then once we're all together in the room, I think that passion takes over. And then there have been times as well when someone might have written a song or a lyric within a song where I've had to say, look, I'm not saying that, or I'm not performing it in that way, because if I don't agree with it, I don't want to be the one that's delivering a message that I don't agree with. That's not happened much, because I think we are generally all on the same page with things, because like I say, we're a group of friends with similar backgrounds. But yeah, there have been a few times when I've had to sort of say, no, I can't say that.
Yeah. Joe, the world's a better place when all right and making music in it, so I'm delighted you're back with brand new music, and I'm really enjoying Bullet Brain, but we'll get it on Freshly Squeezed. Nice one for your time.
I appreciate it, mate. Thank you.
All my life I've lived with this, with no rules for an easy fix. And I wonder why I can't compartmentalize. There's no easy grip, with no tools left or bolts to twist. And I wonder why I can't ever be on time. Riding life on a bullet train, find your destiny, move far away. Flying high like a propeller plane on a one-way ticket, won't be back again. I try not to be too sorry. I cram too much into my day. Leave everything to last.
There you have it. 3 new tunes, maybe 3 new bands on your radar as well. If you want more from them, and why wouldn't you, then get stuck into the links in the podcast description. In the case of Sherlocks, and if they're new to you for some reason, you have got hours and hours of music to catch up on. As you may well have if this is your first time listening to this podcast as well, because it is always worth delving into the back episodes and seeing what tickles your fancy. And it is certainly worth hammering that follow button so you're on the team, you're part of the community, and you get your weekly hit of brand new fresh sounds every single week. When that time comes around again, I will see you then. Cheers for your ears.
The award-winning Freshly Squeezed, a new music podcast, was devised, produced and hosted by Jim Selbeson. Sound design and additional production by Ant McKinley. Theme music, Blue Blazer, is written and produced by Spin Class. Stop.